There have always been debates about what constitutes distraction or different levels of distraction whilst driving a car, ranging from listening to the radio, having rows with kids to generally having a lack of awareness or understanding of road sense as to what is going on around you. Cell phones and the use of cell phones whilst driving have taken this debate to a new level. It is simply not an academic debate anymore, since the use of cell phones both for making and receiving calls and for sending and receiving text messages or SMS messages has become widespread in most countries in the world. Cell phones have come a long way since the first one appeared in the James Bond film From Russia with Love, and are now considered a routine part of most people's driver's experience. Car manufacturers are increasingly building and integrating cell phone capabilities into the vehicles themselves, either by way of Bluetooth technology or other sorts of technological adaptations of cell phones. When cell phones first became widespread, they were often known as car phones, because that was where they were mostly used. Because of the size of the car phone, it meant that most people would only use them when the car was stationary and would consciously make an effort to pull over or stop in a safe place before answering all receiving calls. As cell phones have changed in size and capability, to reverse became true. More people began to find it easy and often necessary to make or receive calls during the course of a journey, and subsequently do not think of it as being risky or distracting behavior. After a while, governments began to realize both the normalization of using a cell phone whilst driving, and the inherent dangers and risks associated with such. Many states and governments introduced laws that made holding a cell phone whilst making or receiving a call a criminal offense. The use of Bluetooth technology and other types technology allowed drivers to make and receive what are known as hands-free calls, which were deemed to be safer and less distracting and physically having to hold a cell phone handset in the hand whilst driving. That belief that hands-free driving is safer may or may not be true. The reality is that in most places it is legal, but has almost been superseded by a bigger problem, that of sending and receiving text messages or SMS messages. This is a widespread and incredibly dangerous practice, not least because it involves the use of one or both hands whilst driving, but it also requires the driver to look at the screen of the cell phone whilst sending or receiving text messages rather than looking at the road around them to see what is going on. The United States government has done research that shows that the use of a cell phone whilst driving can effectively be as distracting or have a similar effect to that of the driver being intoxicated whilst driving. It is an incredibly serious issue, and one which most legislators have in reality given lip service to. The enormity of what it means in terms of potential fatalities or accidents is huge. In terms of car safety, the only real safe use of a cell phone is when the car is stationary and effectively off-road, so the driver does not have to concentrate on what is going on around them at the same time. In terms of car insurance, there are a number of scenarios where the driver of the car, if involved in a fatality or accident that occurred whilst they were using a cell phone improperly, could have their car insurance compromised. Peter Main is a freelance writer who has spent almost 20 years in the insurance industry, working at Lloyd's of London. He writes extensively about car insurance, and in particular about how the various factors that affect car safety also have an impact on people's car insurance costs. Share this video and subscribe for more interesting auto insurance tips.